Welcome to FlipWitch Forbidden Sex Hex. FlipWitch came out around like last year November, and is a Metroidvania game where you go around doing quests in your gender bending technique. To no lie, this is in the description of the game to seduce everyone around you. Now if you're wondering how I got this game, I did not spend any money, but a friend sent this to me for building my new computer, and no cap, this message came with the game he sent. Yeah, this shit's absurd to read. I put too many hours into this game, which is I ain't gonna lie, that's just absurd. And I figured out a little challenge I can do with this, which is, can you beat FlipWitch without upgrading your wand at all? The rules for this challenge aren't that simple, but it kinda is, and which is you just cannot upgrade your wand at all, which is a integral piece of the game due to it being able to increase your damage, your health, and your mana, and giving you more peachy peaches. If you don't know what peachy peaches are, let me explain to you. Peachy peaches allow you to heal, and when you get to the final upgrade in the game, you can hold up to 12 of these, meaning you can heal yourself up at least 12 times. Though with this challenge, we can only do the basic amount of damage and only have 2 peaches, which means that we have to use them very wisely until we get to a save point, which are very hard to do by the way. This is just due to saves giving back our health, so that's kind of why they're important. Also around each area of the game there are health upgrades, which we are counting due to them not being wand upgrades, and the game we would not be able to beat the last part of the game if we don't have these health upgrades. So other than that, with that being said, let's see if we can beat FlipWitch Forbidden Sex Hex without upgrading the wand. That's 12 hours combined, man. Also, we are playing on normal difficulty, since that is literally the hardest difficulty in the game right now. In the beginning of the game, we meet our teacher Beatrix, who tells us that the world has fallen into chaos and needs to teach us a forbidden spell, but we need a power component called the fairy bubble. As we head out on our way, she ends up giving us a peach of peaches that we need as the healing, and lets us know that we can upgrade and get more peaches and healing strength, which we will not be doing sadly. After fighting our way through many goblins, we end up fighting a Spirit City guard who tells us about the crystal being potentially cursed, and in which we don't care and leave. After going down the ladder, we end up fighting the Great Fairy being dominated by a goblin, in which we end up battling to see who can dominate her. I ended up dying first. I died on the first. Alright, for the Goblin Dominatrix boss, there are many phases. The first phase are horizontal and vertical beams, which we can either go through the gaps in the beams or roll through them, which does not do any damage to us at all. The next attack is what's called bubble burst, which are bubbles expanding out to the player, which we can also roll through and not take any damage. Once this boss gets to half health, they end up modifying the attacks, and for this boss, she can only modify her horizontal beams, which becomes no longer dodgeable by rolling, and we just have to get the hell out the way at that point, and which we end up beating the boss. After setting the Great Fairy free, while talking to the Great Fairy, we end up finding out that she doesn't actually have the fairy bubble, and that was pawned up to somewhere in Spirit City. Thankfully, the crystal that was there was actually unblocked, and now we can just head into Spirit City to look for the bubble. While in Spirit City, we end up finding out there had many things like bathrooms, a fashion store, and a Bunny Girl Cafe. After that, we end up getting the fairy bubble and heading back to Beatrix to return it to her, and in which we end up getting the item that we need to switch or gender flip. Hey, you can find that into the dude. After that, we go venture out to go find the Goblin Queen to go take her now to get the Chaos Key that we need to go take down the Chaos Witch. While looking for the Goblin Queen, we end up coming across an area where the Chaos Witch appears and puts us into a battle, which I call Chaos Battles, in which she just puts down minions from the level and you just have to kill all of them. That's basically all there is. I think I beat this like second try, because I know the first time I died, there was no way I was gonna beat it on the first take. Alright, I stand corrected. It was definitely first try. What the fuck? It didn't really last long though, because right after I beat that, I ended up dying and I had to beat the whole thing all over again. Yeah, this shit sucks. After fighting the Chaos Battle, we end up finding an HP bonus, which we are counting by the way, since it does not apply to the wand. We end up finding a Crystal Teleporter, which allows us to teleport to any Crystal Teleporter in the game, and we found the Goblin Boss Key door, which we can now go fight the Goblin Queen. So let's go handle that. After making our way to the Goblin Queen, we end up seeing who she is, and she really got a long ass nose on her. For this boss battle, the Goblin Queen actually only has 4 attacks, which are just based on your location, being far, mid, and close, to how close she is to you. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. When you're close, she'll just stab the ground close to her chest. When you're mid, just like your girl, she'll stab the ground a bit further than last time. When you're mid far, she'll just stab forwards towards the player, I guess. I was gonna say shank, but whatever. And when you are far, she will just end up just throwing the dagger at you. Also, there are crystals that will appear on the top of the screen, and if she stabs the ground, the crystal will just try to fall on top of you, so yeah, that sucks. In her second phase, when she reaches half health, she ends up just breaking the floor, so that's really it. So you'll just see the 3 platforms just break. It can either be the most furthest one, the one in the middle, or the one right next to her. So you kind of always just got to keep moving while also trying to attack her. So also, if you didn't know, if you hit her nose, it does a bit more damage than just hitting her in the chest. But I wasn't really going for the nose. I was too scared. And that's first boss down. Yay. Give me the chaos key. Yes, sir. After beating the Goblin Queen, we end up getting the first piece of the Chaos Door, and Beatrix ended up telling us that we need to next head to the Ghost Castle. Just to let y'all know how many Chaos Keys we need at least 6. So that's already 1 down. We need 5 more. Going all the way right of Spirit City, we end up coming across the Haunted Mansion, in which we end up greeted by really good bad looking zombies and a other ghost named Juniper, who tells us that her sister has been imprisoned, both her body and soul, and that the door to the castle is locked and we need to go find a spare one in the graveyard. After going to the graveyard and falling down a hole, we end up having to gender flip, and after doing that we end up getting the ghostly castle door, which is used to unlock the door in the ghost castle. After opening the ghost door, we end up fighting a skeleton, a ghost, and whatever the fuck that shit is, and finding Juniper telling you to go find another key for the locked door, which is already about to start pissing me off. After taking down some of the minions in the castle, we end up coming across a little platform part where we have to jump down and do some gender flipping and make a platform at the bottom to grab the chest to open the door to another room that wasn't for the door that Juniper was at. Which is, what the fuck? After fighting 2 more minions in the castle, we end up fighting the secret garden door key, which is now able to go back to Juniper and to unlock the door that she was just once at. Going further to the right, we end up coming across another chaos battle, in which this time we actually do beat it first try and not die after we get it, so I feel a bit more better this time. I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was gonna die there, man. But hey, we're too good at this game. Kinda. After that, we go up and we end up getting a new ability called the Ghost Transformation, which now allows us to go through these spiky vines to get to the next area where we need to go and go get the key to fight the boss. Also, I do a little puzzle to get the HP bonus or the HP upgrade so we can have enough, health to fight against the boss. Love to see that HP bonus. After doing all that, we finally reached the Ghost Boss, which is probably one of the most funnest bosses in the game I've ever played, and you'll see why. So in this boss battle, we fight the Ghost Boss, which in her first phase, she only has 3 attacks, which are the Spectral Orbs, First Quake, and Ring Radius. Orbs is when the boss creates 6 orbs, which are pink and blue, which are thrown at you. You can either gender flip to the respective color to phase through it or just roll out the way. Then there's Fist Quake, is when she clenches her fist and slams the floor, which creates an aftershock, which you either jump over or you stay on the platforms to not get hit. And finally, Ring Radius is an attack that the boss creates that is a resemblance to a ring that expands outwards. These rings are either going to be pink or blue, in which you have to gender flip to phase through the ring. In her second phase, her spectral orbs become gold, which you just have to roll out the way to not get hit by her ring radius. And now they also become unpredictable due to it randomly just changing colors each time a ring is emitted. She also gets 2 new attacks, which are the Summoning the Undead and the Chaos Beam. With her Summoning the Undead, she spawns into minions, which you can just hit and just kill them. And with her Chaos Beam, she places her hands on either side of the ground and shoots out a beam, which you have to be on a platform to dodge it. We end up beating this boss pretty easily, not really dying at all, but taking up our 2 peaches, but it's okay, as we just still got the W. Whoa! First take! After defeating the boss, Jennifer ends up coming back and telling us that we are her savior, and they just dip off. But we still got the Chaos Key, so on to the next boss. For this boss, we're gonna have to head down to a bit of a harder place called Jigoku. This is basically the hell of this game, and this is where we're just gonna have to fight a boss. On Jigoku, we found a room that gives us a key to the Ancient Beast room, which we can fight a sub-boss there, and that would give us something new. After making it back to the Ancient Beast room, we end up fighting a boss called Hot Guy. And he doesn't look that hot to me, but hey, each their own, man. But we end up fighting him, and which was a pretty almost difficult boss that I faced for a sub boss, but we end up still getting the W first try. There we go. After that, we get another key for the collapsed door, which will now give us the item that we would need to get to the boss on this level. After making our way to Jigoku and almost dying a couple of times, we end up getting the item that we need, which are the demon wings. After that, now that we got the demon wings, we can now head over here and use them, and we can now go to the area with the boss named Club Demon. While in Club Demon, we end up finding 2 keys that we'll need for this area, and then we end up going to a chaos battle, which was kind of difficult, and honestly, I think it was pretty easy at the end of the day though. First try again, man! Oh my goodness. This is getting too hectic now. And with that, we now got the boss door room key, and now we can go face the boss of Jigoku. Also, I did another puzzle to get another health upgrade, so yeah, we needed that one. While at the boss door, Beatrix ended up spawning or teleporting in to tell us that we might need to upgrade this, a wand and stuff like that, since this boss is pretty difficult and we don't reach the, maximum requirement to actually play it at a good level. But me, I got a challenge to do, so I can't do that. We ain't doing that anytime soon, Beatrix. With the demon boss battle, she has 4 attacks, which are bottoms up, club kick, noxious blast, and hellfire. Bottoms up, she throws 7 liquor pill glasses up in the air and coming down at you, which you can just keep rolling and they won't hit you at all. Club kick, she'll quickly raise her leg and stomp the ground, which will create an aftershock right afterward. Noxious blast, she'll take a whiff of her cigarette and blast a green beam and just try to damage you with a wide sweep. And this is probably one of the more easier ones. You can just roll through it and not just take any damage at all. And Hellfire, she snaps her fingers, creates 8 spears that will just be at the top of the screen and will fall down to hit you. You can either just dodge the attack, which should be very precise and when to dodge, or you can just find a gap in the spears and just stand right in the middle of it. In her phase 2, she would just end up just changing a bit of her moves, which one of them would be her Hellfire attack, which now becomes Chaos Hellfire, which is just, you're not able to even dodge it, you just have to find the gap and just be there, just sit in there. Her Noxious Blast sequence is now slightly modified and now has 3 sweeps instead of the just normal 2. And she now can summon her own little minions, which you can just get out the way as quick as you can, but always make sure to watch out for the boss, because she will kill you if you give it a chance. And finally, she has a new move called Devil Horns, which has been added. She would just grab her horns and periodically just emits damaging lightning projectiles just right at you. So they're pretty slow, but if you put that on with the minions, they'll just be you just gotta make sure. After dying a lot in this boss fight, and I mean a lot of times, we finally beat it, and we can just go on to the next boss, man. There we go! Whew, that was way more difficult than last game. After being in hell, I felt a bit hot, so I need to go get some AC. Let's go head up to heaven now. In order to get to heaven, we must go to the Fungal Forest first, which we'll come back to later since that's not important right now. Once you get to a certain area, you can jump up into this yellow mushroom, and then you bounce up, and then you have to jump over to this edge and then use your demon thing to get across. And then we're finally gonna be heading up. While going to Tengoku, or heaven, but Tengoku is what it's called in the game, we end up coming across under a chaos battle, in which we just easily beat since you can just cheese this one with maximum efficiency. Yeah, okay, these fights are getting simpler and simpler, man. It's way simpler and simpler. After making our way through more enemies on this map, we end up getting the HP upgrade, and we end up just going to go do the boss. Also, before the boss, I end up getting the upgrade that we need called the Angel Feathers, which will allow us to triple jump in to be able to get to the boss. Our next fight is the Angel Angelica, who is definitely more than what meets the eye. In this boss fight, Angelica only has 4 attacks, which are the Whip Whirlwind, Radiant Rays, Binding Love, and Shock Treatment. With Whip Whirlwind, she cracks her whip and creates 2 whirlwinds that are pink and blue, in which you can just gender flip to be able to just dodge them, and you just won't be able to dodge them anywhere else or anyway. With Radiant Rays, she will also crack her whip and create multiple beams of rays, in which you have to dodge them out, either finding a big split between the rays, crouching, or just completely just laying down on the floor. Another thing with Angelica is that she will transform into her masochistic state. In her masochistic state, she has 2 moves, which are Binding Love, which she will wrap herself in her own whip and hurl 3 damaging hearts to your location, in which you can just move out the way before they hit you. And Shock Treatment, which she will just put 2 electrocutors on her body and just shock herself, which will electrify parts of the stage. Also, in her masochistic state, if she's hit or attacked in any way, she will also regain health, which is tied to the masochistic thing, and I thought it was kind of cool, but also something that makes you where you just can't keep hitting the boss over and over again. Alright, in her phase 2, Angelica has the same attacks, but her attacks are just more faster. Say for instance her Whip Whirlwind, instead of it just being this normal pace, it will be really quick, in which you just have to gender flip so much faster to be able to dodge it. And with her Radiant Rays, you have to dodge it 3 times instead of 2. In her masochistic state, in her second phase, her moves are just a bit more faster, and she just does a bit more like her Binding Love. Instead of doing like 2, it's now 3, and her electrocution is still the same, it's just a bit more faster. But she also gets a new move called Starfall, in which it's the easiest move in the game to dodge, where she just summons 3 stars and just drops it and it'll explode, and you can just dodge or not be anywhere near them.
Keep going.
First take! I'm getting too good at this game. After beating Angelica, we cannot get our mana upgrade and the Chaos Key, in which now we can go fight the next boss. After making it back to Fungal Forest, we can now use our newly acquired triple jump to get over this area, or this platform, to be able to get to where we need to go next. Also, we got into a chaos battle, but you know, I beat this first try because, you know, I'm just goated like that. After that chaos battle, I went to go get the health upgrade on this stage or level, and we can just go to the actual main boss now. After doing that, we end up going to go get the Forgotten Fungal Key door, or key for the door, and then after that, which will lead us to getting the slime transformation, which in that will allow us to be able to get into these small little gaps where we cannot get into normally, and shrink and get the slime seed, I don't know what you call it, Citadel key? I don't know. While we're in the new area, Beatrix ended up popping up and telling us that we're doing well in our adventure, but also telling us that this is a very dangerous place and that we should at least come back and upgrade, and you know my answer to that. What I say, we is not upgrading at all. After fighting our way through many slimes, we end up getting the slime sub-boss room key, and we end up fighting a boss, well, a sub-boss named Slurp, in which we just take her down very easily. Alright, first take. Thank you, come again. Now that we made it to the boss, we now can fight the Slime Princess, which she has 3 attacks named Slime Sling, Drip Drop, and Pipe Burst. Slime Sling, she creates a row of 10 slime balls, which would just launch in its own direction and bounce around, which you can just roll through them, and that's a good way I'm not getting hit. With Drip Drop, she will summon 1 minion, which could be any minion that was on the stage you just went against, and Pipe Burst, which are 3 pipes, will appear at the top of the screen and will shoot out slime, which will damage you if you get hit, and you cannot roll through this, so it's best to just stay away from the pipes. In her second phase, she will now have 2 moves that will be, I guess, modified, which is her Slime Sling, which will be that 5 of her slime balls will now be a yellow or golden, which means that these cannot be rolled through, so it's best to just get out the way or just make sure you just dodge them without rolling, just jump over them or something. And pipe bursts, instead of 3 pipes, there will now be just 6 of them. After beating this boss, we can now get our second to last chaos key, and we can go straight on to the next boss. Let's go! Ooh, way easier this time. P6. Before we go to the next level, we have to go get an item that will allow us to get to the next level, and we need to go down to the sewers and go face some fuck ass rats. After killing some rats, we now find a sub boss, which we easily just take care of, not dying not one time, and we get the item that we need. Thank you. Now that we got the mermaid skill, we can now head on to the new area, which is underwater. This area of the game is called Yumi Yumi, which is the underwater level of the game, and basically the second to last area of the game. So let's just get to the bosses. After going through a chaos battle, we end up going to go fight a sub boss named Octrina, and which we died a couple too many times to her, but we still end up getting the win after that many deaths. Okay. Yeah. My goodness, dog. After that boss fight, we end up getting the frog boss room key, and we got an HP upgrade, which will be grateful for the last boss of this game. On this boss battle, we have the frog boss, which she only has 3 moves, which are frog skipper, tongue swipe, and aquatic spiral. Frog skipper, she just summons a bunch of frogs that will launch in their own direction and will explode on contact if they hit you, but you can just roll through them to not take any damage at all. Tongue swipe is when she would just swipe her tongue on the bottom of the platform, and you can just dodge just by just standing on the platforms above you. Her final move is called aquatic spiral. She would just create a green spiral, which would just gradually expand outwards, and you can get hit by the spiral. But if you kind of dodge through the lines and not the little circle things in the spiral, you won't take any damage at all. In her phase 2, her frog skipper gets a modified, which basically has some gold or yellow frogs in there, which cannot be dodged through at all, so it's best to just jump over them and try to avoid them as best as you can. And her tongue swipe has now got modified to be able to do 3 sweeps instead of her original 1 sweep, and her aquatic spiral has now gotten a bit more faster. First try! First try! After taking on the frog boss, we now got the final chaos key, which we now can go try and take down the final boss of the game. In order to get to the final boss, you have to go back to Spirit City and jump on this platform right here, which will take you all the way up, and then go all the way to the left, and then go all the way up again to get to the final boss, which we need all the chaos keys. We're now at the Chaos Temple, which holds new enemies and old enemies from the other stages of the game. Now we can just go and find the 2 keys and see if we can take down this boss. We end up finding our last sub boss, and this boss is Pandora, which is probably one of the easiest bosses in the game once you know how to cheese it. So, all right. After getting the closed sanction door key, we end up fighting the final chaos battle in the game, which really is also really easy once you learn how to cheese it. So after that, we end up getting the last health upgrade that we need. So let's go see if we can finally beat this game. I also got this scythe, which is probably one of the most underrated items in this game, and you're gonna see why. For the Chaos Witch boss battle, she has 5 attacks, which are Hellfire, Chaos, Horizontal and Vertical Beams, Radiant Rays, Spectral Orbs, and Aquatic Spiral. These are moves from previous bosses, if you remember, so I don't really want to go over what they do. But except for the chaos and verticals, horizontal beams, you just can't dodge those. The other ones, you just have to remember what you do for those other moves from the other bosses. Once you get her down to her second phase, all her moves just become faster, so she doesn't change any moves, it's just that they become way more faster. Ooh! No hit? Though, this isn't the end of the boss. We still have one more phase, and this phase is the hardest stage in the game. In her final phase, she has 7 attacks. These attacks are Supreme Hellfire, Supreme Pyramid Power, Supreme Chaos Slime Slaying, Supreme Chaos Frog Skipper, Supreme Aquatic Spiral, Supreme Chaos Spectral Orbs, and Radiant Rays. All the attacks are just from original bosses, but they're just way bigger so they can fit the fighting stage. So in her second phase of this battle, she ends up modifying a whole lot, like 6 times. She now has a new attack called Supreme Pyramid Power, which is from the Pandora fight. The Supreme Slime Slaying now contains 35 Chaos Slime Balls instead of the original 25, and now increase in speed. The Aquatic Spiral, or the Supreme Aquatic Spiral, is now increased in speed as well. The Supreme Chaos Frog Skipper has increased not only just in speed, but in numbers. And she's now also able to summon minions to the stage. And here is where the Scythe comes in handy. The Scythe comes really in handy when she summons the minions, because the Scythe cannot just take out basic minions in the game. So if she summons the basic enemies or minions, you can just one-tap them. But if they are the big enemies, then you really can't one-tap them, you gotta do it, which has gotten me killed on numerous attempts. Dying over and over and over and over and over again, I finally got a good run. And this will be the end.
Pathetic! Weakling! Too easy! Pathetic! Pathetic! Die already! Pathetic!
Pinch of chaos.
Pathetic!
Let's go! Oh my gosh. And with that, we beat the game. Honestly, dog, this was a lot of fun. Very difficult. Very difficult, man. Like, I don't show the amount of deaths in here because it will be a lot, and I don't want this video to not be too long. But yes, I've died so many times on this game doing this challenge, but it was really fun, man. And to answer the unknown, well, the question of the video, can you beat FlipWitch without upgrading the one at all? Yes, you can. You really can. You just have to be very dedicated, man. Look at my HP, bro. I had that much HP. I think like one more hit and I would have died. Man, oh my goodness. We beat the game. Like I said, no items, nothing like that. The only item that we really had was the sight that was okay. It was really good, actually, for the most part. But no, yeah, but we didn't upgrade not one. See, no quest, so we couldn't even upgrade anything. Oh my goodness, man. That was crazy. If y'all want me to do more challenges on FlipWitch, just let me know, dog. I think I can come up with some, like, 1 or 2 more ideas, and other than that, we probably can't do more on this game since it's such a limited, you know, things you can do on here. But I want to thank y'all so much for watching. I appreciate y'all, man. I hope to see y'all later, man. Peace out.